I just hate like loose bags. That's why I put a lot of things in jars. Decluttering my crazy stress inducing pantry. Hey beauties, it's Robin again. Today we are going to be cleaning my very messy, cluttered pantry. And I'm going to offer tips for everybody, which includes if you have a small pantry, a large pantry, or just a cupboard. These tips will be very helpful in decluttering where you keep your food. So I'm just going to show you some of the main areas that are of problem here and what we're going to do and how things have devolved over time. I'm even doing this without makeup for you guys. So it's kind of random. It used to be a lot more organized. Like, I don't know, like the olive oil's up there now. The balsamic is there. Part of it is that we get the kids to clean up after dinner. So they do put things away and I'm grateful they do. But like the salt, although you would think it would be with the seasonings, but I like to keep it over here with the baked goods. I'm going to actually change how I organize things in here a little bit. So I've been practicing minimalism for well over a year, and if there's anything I've realized, certain areas need a bit of maintenance as far as decluttering goes. Now, a lot of those things are in the kitchen. Last week I did my kitchen desk. This is part 2 where I'm decluttering the pantry, and next week I'll be doing the freezer and the fridge. Now, if this is your first time here, my name is Robin. I make videos for people who are trying to minimize all of that excess stuff in their lives, but maximize their productivity so that they can actually relax and put their feet up and enjoy the peace of being home. Now, before I go on, I just want to say, yes, I do have a rather large pantry, but I really want to stress that no matter what size your kitchen or your pantry is, these tips will be helpful for you. Procrastination is huge, and I am going to plop in my AirPods so that I am able to actually be entertained while I do this process. It always makes doing chores so much better. So the first place to start is by grabbing something to throw the food waste and the expired things, any recycling into. I just grabbed a laundry basket and I just started throwing stuff in there. And in no time I realized I was really happy because we didn't have a lot of food that was expired, but what we did have was a lot of David's tea tins and a lot of glass. Now, I do have a bit of a David's tea obsession. It's partially because COVID has shut down our David's tea in town and we have to order it online. And a lot of the stuff is seasonal. So I kind of stock up. I keep it in the cupboard so that I always have it around. It's like my little guilty little pleasure. And so I have all these tins left over. Now, I often use them to put gifts in. I've even put a couple of plants in them. But the first thing I'm going to do is see if anybody wants them because, you know, reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is last. I will recycle if nobody takes them, which is awesome. Same with the glass. The glass, I tend to save leftover glass. Okay, so this is the glass from the pantry, and I use it for, I make a lot of chicken stock and beef stock, and I keep it in the freezer, which you'll see next week. But some of the jars, and often I'll go to use a jar and I don't have a lid and it frustrates me, and the jars were stacking up, as you can see. And some of them I know I don't use. I think most of them I do, but if they don't have a lid, basically, if they don't have a lid, I'm getting rid of them. So I'm going to put lids on them and put them back. Anything left over will be recycled. As for the things that are for canning, I'll put them with my canning stuff, but overall I'm much happier with how much smaller I got my glass collection. Now in just a minute, I'm gonna show you a tour of my completed, finished off pantry. But first we have to get to the down and dirty, and that would be the harder part of cleaning out the pantry. Now, you gotta take things out of there as much as you can. If I had a smaller pantry, I would probably put everything on my counter, but it is rather large. So I took kind of like the bulk of a few sections and threw it on my kitchen counter, and then I started shuffling things around. This is when you can get an idea of what you have and what categories you want to organize things in. Okay, so I don't know why, but I have been storing my rolling pins on their side, and they just rolled off and made a huge dent in the floor. Whatever. So once you shuffle things around, then you get an idea of the categories that you can organize things in. Now, the funny thing is when you start going through your pantry, you are going to find a lot of things that you're like, wow, I cannot believe that we have so much of this one particular item. But the thing that really stood out was we had 3 bags of cornmeal. 3 bags of cornmeal. I love cooking, so I do have things in our pantry, but we use them. One of my rules for minimalism is making sure that you're not keeping things that you don't use. So we'll get rid of those, but for the most part, we use a lot of stuff. We like to cook and we love to eat. So as you're shuffling things around, clean as you go. So every time I have a shelf clear, I give it a vacuum, give it a dust, give it a wipe, then it's ready to be reorganized. So I started putting things back in the categories. So I'm gonna give you a little tour. Okay, so this is it. Now down here, of course, taller items will go the baking section. So I've got my flour, moving up still the baking section. Like all this is clustered together. And the snack section, which is pretty sad. These are baking things, glass, lots of rice. I actually had found I had a lot of rice before, and we'll get through it all. The quinoa, we'll get out with rice. This is the pasta section. Now, generally, I'm kind of against baskets, but this, I don't think things will get lost in there. I just hate like loose bags. That's why I put a lot of things in jars, because jars are a nice, they look nice. They're a good way to store things. I could put these as well, but you know, I don't want to go crazy. I don't have that many jars. I don't even have a lid on this one. See? Problem with the lids. And the canned goods. I'm actually happy we don't have that many. Had a rolling pin accident yesterday. Ugh, see that dent? Now this is another basket, and I think it's good because it's mostly flat things. The cat food up high because some cats are very sneaky. I'm talking about pumpkin seed. And this is the oils and vinegar section. Coming into the spices section, this would be the Asian spices. And this is sort of like salad toppers. This is where I also have more of the bags of the spices, just because I don't like having them around, but I just hate to buy them in these jars all the time. I got these at Lee Valley and I love them. They're a great way to store spices. We love ourselves some capers. This would be more the processed lunches section, minus this of course, but they just fit there well. These are really good soups, by the way. Crumpet's exploring. Crumpet! In case you're wondering, he's got a brain injury, but he's very happy, aren't you? Yes, you are. I love you. Oh, hi. So last week I decluttered my kitchen desk, and I think you might like that. Click this here. It's good for, even if you don't have a desk, you got paperwork, you got clutter that collects in the kitchen, good for that. And this is my minimalist playlist. I think you will really like it. I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.